welcome back to my 6 monthly vlog for my currently in development game, the Talisman. This is definitely a major milestone for me because this is the first time I have ever posted a devlog in less than a month since my last one. If you were not anticipating this, I'm sure you just know I was cooking something up this month. But anyways, it's good to be back. I'm always eager to come on the mic and share my screen and show every little progress I've made in the project. I do have to hold myself back though, because I try to showcase a new build only when there's a major milestone, just so I can show something visually interesting to you all. In this video, I wanted to show you the progress I've made to the AI NPC character. I've made a lot of progress with the CPU character. If you can remember, initially I started working on the NPC character using behavior trees to control the actions. I've been doing some work this month, and I realized that behavior trees are not the best solution to use when making the kind of CPU opponent I'm trying to make. This is because behavior trees make it difficult to cancel decisions when the world state, or in this case the player's actions, change the CPU's character's circumstances. Like for example, in this scene, when I approach the opponent, it's supposed to attack me, and when I parry the CPU opponent at any moment in its attack, it will transition to moving in a specific way to try to maneuver around me and end its maneuver with a slightly different set of attacks. This behavior is very difficult to pull off with behavior trees, so I had to do a little research in the various ways game developers have dealt with creating intelligent AI characters in the past. And I found out about this AI controller system. It's called Goal-Oriented Action Planning. Essentially, the Goal-Oriented Action Planning, or GOAP system, is designed to backtrack its way from the goal, which is the ideal state of the action planner, and then picks out the best steps of actions to reach that goal. It uses this algorithm called A-star algorithm to build its series of steps to come up with plans of action to accomplish a goal. Feel free to pause at any time to look up the A-star algorithm. It's very interesting. But the conclusion is that you can create emergent behavior using this system. The AI opponent can cancel their actions and proceed to any number of steps of action. This is something behavior trees can be very hard to pull off. Behavior trees tend to make decisions and stick to those decisions, making behavior trees a more scalable and highly elaborate finite state machine. And of course, for those who don't know, a finite state machine is an AI system that uses if-else statements, basically. The GOAP system is theoretically a highly scalable system. There's no hardwired connections between actions. The actions are generated with an algorithm in a way that will lead the CPU to reach its goal as efficiently as possible, or really as efficiently as you design it. I'm going to show you the CPU behaviors now. I did add some sound effects for debugging purposes, and also to add some presentation to the game. So let me arrange. You see, when I parry, the AI moves in a different set of ways than the way it usually does. The way it usually moves is this 3-step attack, this 3-combo attack, and then when I parry, it's going to sidestep a bit and make a different set of attacks. Yeah, it's a very simple system, but I find this is going to be really scalable. And I'm not sure if you noticed, but when the when the NPC opponent is right in front of the player blocks pretty easily. But when it steps to the side, you see it can actually strike the player. So the blocking isn't kind of absolute in this game. Blocking only really depends on whether the opponent is directly in front of you or not. So if the opponent moves to the side a bit, then you're going to get hit regardless of whether you're blocking or not. And then of course, when I crouch, the AI kind of hit me. Just because, yeah. Well, it can hit me with certain moves, like the thrust move when it starts. The thrust move is a vertical move, so vertical moves can strike crouched players. But the horizontal moves, that's the moves that show the orange swords trails. Those moves can't really... Those moves can't really hit the player. It's really simple. It doesn't really do much, it just follows these series of steps. It's really simple, but I do think it's going to do a lot more than this in the near future. I did just get around to figuring out how the goal-oriented action planning works. And yeah, I am pretty proud of how far I've come with this. But now I'm going to school this AI to show who's boss. He's kind of tough actually, so I'm just going to step back a bit. For the GOP system, I actually didn't build it myself. I used this game dev tool I found online that helps me visualize the GOP planner I'm using. The name of the tool was Catsoft Game Creator. I found it genuinely helpful for figuring out how the GOP system works and how to build simple AI behaviors with its clutter-free UI and easy to set up API tools. I started out using this other GOP tool. I don't want to mention their name, but their tool had no UI action planner builder, and all the setup for the action planner was done through code. Normally, I don't mind game dev tools that are code-based only. As a game programmer, I do have to be familiar with code-based tools. However, the first tool I found was convoluted, to say the least. I think that if you're going to make a game dev tool, the setup for it ought to be as minimal as possible. Especially if your tool is for building a solution that most game developers are not familiar with the concepts, except for those on like the higher echelon of the game development career progression. So like senior devs, or for example, or yeah, essentially. I'm also using an animator tool that's code-based only. The tool allows me to animate the characters without using the animator controller. This is really helpful because it allows me to create up to hundreds of moves using scriptable objects and attaching the animations for the move in the external the external scriptable object. Despite being code-based only, the setup is as simple as creating a scriptable object for holding the animation and then calling the play function to play that scriptable object. Obviously, an AI system like goal-oriented action planning will require more setup than an animator system, but I do think they could have put a bit more consideration into building a tool API that doesn't require you to create like 100 scripts to get it to start working. But that's just my opinion. I'm always going to go for what helps me build my projects fastest at the end of the day. Goal-oriented action planning is one of the 4 main methods game developers use to build NPC behaviors. The other 3 are behavior trees, utility algorithms, and finite state machines. I've also been looking into utility algorithms, and I'm hoping to figure out a way to integrate it to the dope system I currently have. I think utility algorithms could be useful in deciding the best attack the CPU opponent could use depending on the moment-to-moment situation the opponent finds itself in during the fight. Utility algorithms use a graph curve to determine AI behaviors, and it's been used popularly in games like The Sims, where characters change their behaviors during the day to simulate real people living normal lives. I think if I could use the utility AI to say, for example, when the NPC opponent first attacks, it comes with me with the same first attack as you saw. This has been hard-coded in. However, if the utility AI could run an algorithm that determines the first attack has been, like, for example, used too repetitively, or the player has gotten better at avoiding that attack, then the graph will like shift to the algorithm towards using a different set of attacks. I think this combination, the goal-oriented action planner and the utility AI, would be a game changer in making the attacks as well as the actions themselves a lot more dynamic, and I'm definitely excited to see how it turns out. But anyways, thanks for listening to me rant for like 10 minutes or so. Again, I really appreciate you all tuning in to watch my videos. It gives me a ton of motivation to keep going. I hope to post again definitely as soon as I can, as soon as I did this time, and don't be afraid to like and subscribe. It greatly helps too. Thank you. Bye.